All right, welcome to the Two Sons Podcast. We're recording this on Thursday. I think I have to work tonight, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this one out until Friday, but it's good to see everybody. Luke and I just partied down up in Breckenridge for 5 days with our friends on the slopes.
We partied harder than I was expecting.
we still
I'm not going to lie.
We'll get to that, though. Before we get started,
Yeah.
I just wanted to tell everybody, first of all, it would mean a lot to us if you take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button as we start to build this channel. Also, kind of like what we did at Hoops Tonight, we're going to start doing mailbag questions. We had a question in the YouTube comments on our last video regarding Andor that we're going to get to in a little bit, and I just like doing that. It's fun. Yeah. It gives us stuff to talk about. It's a great way to interact with the people who listen to the show. So anybody who ever has a mailbag question about anything at all whatsoever, drop it in the YouTube comments,
mainly
and we will hit
political questions.
Yeah, you know, like, did anybody want to talk about the border or like healthcare?
Yeah, I mean, we would love to talk about that on the internet.
That sounds great. But yeah, so it drops some mailbag questions. That way we can have some fun. We'll talk about literally anything. We have a trip that we do every single year. We go up to Breckenridge. It's a special place to our friend group. And basically, one of the things that we love about this town is it's a great combination of excellent skiing. In my opinion, one of the best mountains to ski in the world.
Yes.
And also a ski town that's like right up next to everything. So like wherever you're staying, you're just kind of in the thick of it. And so you can pull up and you can park your car and kind of just navigate around the town on foot, and which opens the door to debauchery.
Yes.
And,
it's really neat. Like there's certain ski towns where you'll be like eating at a cafe and someone will walk by holding their skis. Mm-hmm. And it just creates this awesome atmosphere. Like we were at the very end of a run called 4 o'clock. And the reason why they call it 4 o'clock is because the slopes close at 4. And everyone uses this to get down to like their houses or parking lots or whatever. And it's really cool because like 4 o'clock literally goes into the patio of this Airbnb that we stayed at, which was incredible. But all day long, you'd look out the window and you'd see people walking by with their ski stuff. And it was just like the best atmosphere.
Yeah, it was cool. We the specific place we stayed at was like a short walk up to the lift, and then you could ski basically to the back door. And like honestly, that's one of those things where I've done it all, right? Like we've stayed in Durango and driven 30 minutes every single day to the mountain,
which is a great vibe. Durango's an awesome town too.
We've done day trips. That's a big Arizona thing where like you wake up at 4 a.m. and then you drive 4 hours up to the volcano and you ski for 7-8 hours and then you drive home that night. And we've done ski and ski outs. And there's no doubt that the whole like being able to like ski up to your door, just pop out of your boots and like crack open a beer is definitely
it's the
like
greatest.
The best.
We again, the debauchery occurred. So we met up with some of the ladies at the half day mark instead of in the morning. Yes. And Marcus and I, our buddy that we went with, we met our wives down at the Airbnb, and they like had a pizza ready to go. So we literally skied into the patio, clicked our skis off, and then had some pizza within 5 minutes. It was the greatest thing.
Dude, that's such a power move. Yeah,
no, it's the greatest.
And shout out to Marcus, by the way. Like Marcus, we've done this particular trip 3 years in a row now. Marcus is one of our good buddies. He 3 years ago was like barely getting down the mountain at like 2 miles an hour.
Yeah, I watched this guy almost kill himself on a catwalk one time where he slowly was just inching towards death and couldn't stop. Just no matter what he did.
And finally he just off the edge at one point.
The board was off the edge. He was like sitting, like I'm sitting in this chair, and there was like a 70-foot cliff below him.
Yeah,
he's gotten a lot better.
Then last year he was able to do heel side, so like he'd kind of point his nose down and the tip of his board down and kind of get up to like maybe 15 miles an hour, and then he'd kind of dig in his heels and he'd go, but like he was kind of moving a little bit.
Yeah.
And then this year we went up to my favorite ski run in the world, which is called Reverie, off of Peak 6 in Breckenridge. It's the second tallest ski lift in North America, and the tallest ski lift in North America that goes to blue terrain. And so,
that's quite the stat.
And so we took Marcus up there because that's one that you and I have done a lot of times. And I got a video of Marcus going heel side, toe side off the top of Reverie. And I was like, dude, this is so cool. Like it basically 24 months went from a guy who like could not get down the mountain or barely could get down the mountain to like a dude who's carving up one of the best ski runs in North America.
He did great. Power move. He did great. I'm proud of you, Marcus.
Shout
out
Marcus.
What just dawned on me though?
What?
So this was kind of cool. We were at this sushi spot that we like. And
Bluefish, shout out Bluefish.
Yeah, and our waiter happened to be ski patrol, and he kind of just nonchalant mentioned that, but it was kind of cool because we were asking him about, which runs we should take the girls on who aren't as aggressive of skiers as we are, except for your wife, Carly.
My wife your wife did great this trip too, though.
Yeah, she did.
She bounced back this season big time. Yeah.
His stat, though, his little take was Reverie runs up to blues, but it should be black. And I think it's probably like a marketing scheme that it's not a black.
To try to
that it's not a black diamond.
So you can ski off of a blue
exactly.
at
so everyone's like,
feet,
this is the highest lift I'll be able to take up as like a blue skier, and it should be black because he said it should be black. As a ski patroller, that's a big deal. Usually, ski patrollers are like, we can handle anything. For him to say that it should be a black diamond,
it's certainly at a minimum a very challenging blue.
Yes, and depending on the day too, and depending on how deep into the day you are, like it could get pretty mogul.
Oh yeah, well, and like it's like, okay, when you're skiing a blue, and it's like there's kind of like these flattish areas, and then like there's these fall offs, and then there's flattish areas, and then there's these fall offs. Reverie is just one giant 45-degree angle down, literally down the face of an open mountain face where there's no trees because you're so far above the ski line. It's challenging. My wife actually, and I could have killed her for this. So as Luke mentioned, my wife is a better snowboarder than any of us are at anything on the mountain. Like she's just better.
She's incredible.
She's been doing it since she was a little kid. And she was going down Reverie in front of me. And Marcus actually saw it. I think, did you see it too?
I missed it.
Okay, so you were behind us. But like Marcus saw it, and like Carly's skiing in front of me, and we're both cooking. And like I got up to, I think, like 46 on that run, which is like pretty fast for me. Like I've gone over 50 before, but it's very rare. But like I was going about 46. Carly was going like 55 miles an hour. And she ends up clipping an edge and falling. And she's right in front of me, and I just see this massive cloud of dust in a thicket of trees with like two really big ones and then like 5 or 6 like kind of small
Which is
trees.
one of the unique aspects of that particular run is they kept like a cluster of trees in the middle of it for some reason.
No, but that's when you get down to the tree line.
Right.
But like it's like you go from being in this open face to like you're in the trees.
Right.
And like in the first set of trees you go into, it's not like a clear path through the trees.
No.
It is a clear path through the trees that has like a bunch of junk in the way.
It's like a ping pong. Yeah. Not ping pong. What's the
Pong?
No, not pong.
Pinball.
It's like a pinball machine.
It is like a pinball.
It's like they're like, hey, if anyone's out of control, these trees will catch up.
Yeah, you can't actually draw a straight line through these trees. Like you actually have to kind of like slow down to like 20 miles an hour and go. So Carly's in this big puff of snow, and I don't see her, and she's hurtling directly towards these trees at a very high rate of speed. And so I'm immediately like freaking out. But then like the dust kind of clears, and Carly's laying on her back head first, right in between the two trees.
That's so scary.
Right in between the two trees.
Here's a take. I bet those trees are going to be gone in our lifetime because there's no reason they should be there.
They're literally the first trees when you come in into the tree line, and like
it's a little spooky.
Like, so I of course I go up to Carly and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "I'm totally fine." Like she was totally fine. and then I was like, "Did you go into that head first?" And she's like, "No, I was going into a board first." And she's like, "I was holding my board up and sliding on my butt." And she's like, "At the last second, I kind of like slowly spun into it."
Still though,
but like I was a little freaked out by it. And then I basically told her, I was like, "Okay, let's take a big chill pill from now on. I don't feel like
she's like, okay,
one of us dying on the mountain today." But yeah, so shout out to Marcus. Great bounce back, or a great growth over the last couple of years. Your wife Elena, shredded. I was super impressed by her on this trip. We had a day on the mountain where we got sloshed, and then we had a day on the mountain where it was a little more chill. What's funny is my wife almost dying was on the more chill day.
Yeah,
that's the irony. But
the second night that we had some fun, or the third night. It
was the third night, but it was the second night that we had fun. We had fun for 2 nights, and then we barely drank for the last 2 nights because we're all in our 30s and washed, and we were all hungover for 2 days.
The last night that we had too much fun, we were at Bluefish, right?
Yes.
Having a good time. And then all of a sudden, I just see more more sake show up, and then another bottle of wine. And I'm thinking, oh shit, this is not gonna be good. We're supposed to ski. We're supposed to wake up early, right? And then we're like, okay, we need to do a shot ski because that's tradition.
That's a tradition, right? And Elena was pregnant last year. We didn't get to do one.
Couldn't do it. So we found a bar that was doing a shot ski, and they were about to close. So we got our
They were about to close. That was the second one because we did the tee shot at the first place.
Oh, gross! Yeah, so we went to one bar. We did a tee shot, which was not that good. Then we went to another bar and did the shot ski
Rumple
which
mints.
is for people who don't know what that is. You literally have an old ski that has shot glasses like, glued to it essentially, and you take the shot all at once
As a group. Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, thank God we're winding down. And then as we're on the back porch of the bar going home, I'm an idiot and look to my right, and across the street I see this like really cool lit bar, and I thought it was closed. And I was like, oh, that's a really cool looking bar, thinking I was safe to talk about it because I was ready to go home and I thought it was closed.
And we were very close to home too.
And then I see movement happen in the bar and I was like, oh no. Next thing I know, I turn around, you and my wife are
Dude,
across
Elena
the street.
booked it across the street. It was so
and
funny.
then you were with her causing trouble.
I told her I was going to
causing problems. And then Jason's like, yeah, just one more. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, fine. And then as soon as we get into the bar and have that first sip of beer,
everyone's done.
we look at Jason and I look at each other and we're like, this is such a bad idea. And then our wives, we could not get to leave the bar.
Yeah, that happened. For the record, I saw her shoot across the street and she was like booking it, like away from the group. And I had made an agreement earlier in the night because like Elena didn't drink a ton the night before. And she was pregnant last year. And so she was basically the babysitter of the group last year. And so like I had told her at the beginning of the night, I was like, I'll drink with you. Like, let's go, you know? And so when she went across the street, I had to support her.
Thank you for watching out for my wife.
The minute I got in there and like they served us that weird Coors.
Oh, we had some like bad Coors.
It was like a bad batch. It was gross.
It was gross. It was like half syrup, like half corn syrup. Gross.
But anyway, we still, it was so funny though. Cause like we all, me, Luke, Marcus, and Carly in particular are like ski bums. Like we want to ski. Like that's one of our favorite things to do. Skiing with you is one of my favorite things to do with you as my best friend. Like skiing with my wife, like that Tuesday was my favorite day of skiing with Carly ever. Obviously it was a huge day for Marcus. Like we loved it, but like we were all really struggling. And it was so funny because we woke up and we're like, we all feel like absolute dog shit, but like we're going.
Let's go.
Elena and Dolly literally just like laid on the couch and didn't talk to each other for like 3 hours as they were like in like critical, like cling to life mode.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it was a great trip, and we are so blessed that we get to do that.
We're so blessed.
Like I'm truly thankful that we get to have that experience, and hopefully it's one that we get to continue to have.
Yeah, for sure. And Breckenridge again is like a very special place to us. To me, it's the best combination of like it's an easy mountain to ski because there's tons of terrain that's easily accessible. It's easy to navigate. It's not one of those ski resorts where you get lost and you're like, which lift do I take to get back? Like,
right.
They're all the peaks are kind of in line, and
it has a new app.
Yeah, they have an app that you can get
great.
To and from. The restaurants are excellent. Shout out Mario's Pizza is a great one for us. Ollie's Pub is a great barbecue joint that we start every night.
That's where the locals go.
The Bluefish is that the sushi place that we go to every
pricey,
year.
not gonna
Blue
lie.
Stag is like a good place to go for like a brew and like a good appetizer and stuff. And it's just great shopping. The views are incredible. Flying to Denver is easy.
Yeah.
We made it work. It was great.
A+.
But it's good to be back. Okay, we got a mailbag question. Let me pull it up here so we can actually read it. This is from DD Cowan 86, 2 days ago. This is my favorite standalone book, referring to Plagueis. A small detail I loved is when Dooku tells Sidious about Anakin being the chosen one, and Sidious is shocked that he could sense Anakin's power at all. It reaffirms the notion that the chosen one's innate abilities can even dwarf the power of a fully formed Sith Lord. Also, Jason, I'm a huge fan of Hoops Tonight. I've learned so much about basketball through your podcast. I've been a huge Nuggets fan all my life, and I'm glad they're your favorites to repeat. Thank you for the kind words and for supporting that show. I really appreciate it. One last thing. I loved the show Andor and wanted to know what you and Luke think about it. Thanks.
Yeah. So first of all, we do have segments on each episode.
Yes, every episode.
And
big picture.
Huh? Big picture. Yeah.
At the end of every series, we usually do that.
In synopsis, I thought Andor was great. Andor was a really interesting, gritty take on Star Wars. It's the first time that they actually had a legitimate cuss word in Star Wars. I think it was shit. They dropped the S-bomb. And I thought it was a really cool, gritty take on what would be the depths of a rebellion and how bad that would feel. Yeah. I thought it was an awesome show. I loved it. Yeah,
it was dark. It had, again, like a really cool perspective on just like the earlier phases of the rebellion, which I think is important. Like just the intense reliance on secrecy.
Yep.
Because like what people don't realize is like there's two phases to the rebellion. The battle above Scarif was effectively a declaration of war against the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
And like it all happens really quick from there. Like it's like Scarif happens, then that immediately goes into the battle above Yavin 4, which immediately goes into the Imperial fleet chasing the rebels around the galaxy from base to base, which immediately leads into them finding them on Hoth and kicking them off of Hoth, which immediately leads into the rebellion actually discovering that they're building another Death Star through the sacrifice of Bothan spies to them launching the assault. Like it all happens really quick, like the Galactic Civil War. And there's like this whole phase before it, which is almost like a shadow war where it's like all these different rebel cells, all these different kind of entities between rich people and poor people, like kind of like deciding whether or not they want to do this. But like everyone's kind of like at arm's distance. Like they do Luthen.
Yeah, Luthen.
Luthen kind of like dives into the concept of like paranoia and how that can kind of like influence that type of rebellion. Super, super interesting. But again, like I said, the if you scroll further back in our feeds, and like when it comes to our channels, like we kind of split things up. So like anything that's like Lord of the Rings goes over here, everything that's Game of Thrones goes over here, everything that's Star Wars goes over here. And so you can actually click into the sub channels and see that stuff. But we did a reaction to every single episode of Andor as well as the series as a whole, and we'll be. When Andor Season 2 comes out later this year, we'll be doing the same thing.
I'm stoked for it.
All right, guys. That's always, as always, we appreciate you guys supporting the show. We will be back in probably about a week or so.
Thanks a lot.